Okay. Well, good morning. We're now recording. This is Stephen Wynn for the Healing the Heart of America course with I Am Heart. It's Wednesday, May 5th, and today we're going to have the great privilege of working with the widths of our heart and tie that into how much a wide heart helps us in healing ourselves and in healing others. And for the topic for the theme of healing the heart of America, or whatever country you are from, that will be about homelessness, which is growing and growing, not just in America, but in the world. And I have two kids living in India, so I get a picture there, I get, texts from there, messages from there about the homelessness there, how that's going rampant with COVID and just everywhere. Tara could probably tell us something about that too. But that's just what we're going to be doing today. So let's just get started. Let's just sit up straight, feet on the floor. You move our shoulders back, allow our spine to elongate, always to the point where it's comfortable, never to the point of struggling and straining. We're allowing the heart to guide our posture. What feels right to your heart? When we ask questions like this, we start cultivating the movement from the mind into the heart. And that's just a process. It's a huge step when we get there. But it's a process of going in there more and more by going back to the heart again and again. And then it becomes natural and automatic. That's the natural order of things. If you think about it, you might think the mind is running things right now, but if you've ever really had a strong desire, and it's usually from the heart, what happens is the mind figures out reasons why it's okay to fulfill it. In other words, the mind supports the desires of the heart, the impulses and the wisdom of the heart. And when we have that hierarchy established, it's actually a great freedom for the mind, because when we're not living in our hearts, we're living in our minds, we're making decisions from our minds, and the mind just isn't equipped to handle the big decisions in life. It's fabulous for the day-to-day events. We want it to do that. We want it to continue doing that. When we're driving, we want the mind and ego and the body to be doing all the automatic things that they do. But when it comes to the big questions of life, my next step, my next career, my spouse, my children, this and that, it's really the heart that knows how to respond. So that's why we just keep referring back to the heart, and eventually it just becomes a habit, natural and easy. And that's why we culture this. We don't try and force it. We don't beat ourselves up if we're in our minds. We love our minds, and that puts us in our hearts. So, enough of the talk. One of my favorite sayings comes from China, where they say, talk doesn't cook the rice. So, let's just sit up straight in our normal, natural posture for meditating. And just put our hands on our heart. And just begin this process of saying good morning or good evening to our hearts. There's nothing we have to do here. The posture actually does the work. And if you ever find yourself frustrated or irritated or this or that, try just putting your hands on your heart and seeing what happens. And check to see right now what's happened to you with your hands on your heart for just a minute or two. How do things change within you? And when you're ready, let your hands down. Keep them there as long as you like. And now let's just begin our routine to take us into heart rhythm meditation. So just notice your breath right now. Not changing it, we're just noticing it. Something we don't do in the normal course of events, but our breath is really quite the barometer of our beingness, of our heart. What you really want to be looking for could be anything, of course, but how clear are your navel or your nostrils? How fully do you breathe? And again, just noticing. Just by noticing, we are acknowledging and recognizing the importance of our breath to our life. How deep, how shallow, how open. We might as well just give our lungs a little bit of appreciation. Just noticing does that, but it's a skill, just a practice to actually, from our heart, extend love and appreciation or love and approval. It's a practice of gratitude. Could we be grateful for our lungs, or our bronchial tubes? And yes, we can. Now let's move into the full breath. Meaning we go into a full exhale by pulling our abdominal muscles back towards our spine. The air pours out. And then we just smoothly allow the air back in on a very full inhale. And just continue this. Full exhale. Full inhale. And notice what happens is that we're taking something, our breath in this case, that used to be run automatically by our nervous system. And now we're taking conscious control of that breathing process. This has its own value. What happens is that as the automatic, or you could say the subconscious function, is taken over by the conscious mind, it opens up a space for that unconscious mind to start bringing up old wounds to process and to heal. Just what we want it to be doing. It's a natural part of our nervous system that whenever it's given the possibility, it just starts cleaning up, restoring, purifying, healing. By being conscious of our breath, we allow that to happen, while we also flush our system with oxygen, with life force, with prana. Full inhale, full exhale. And just take a moment now to notice the changes in you when you start flushing your system with this life force. Are you less awake? Are you more awake? Do you have less energy? Do you have more energy? And what happens to your body? What do you notice there? For me, I always notice this is where my hands start to vibrate and tingle. So the energy gets pushed into all parts of my body. Sometimes my feet do the same. It'll be different for you, or maybe not. It's everyone's own system. Now before we go into this very sacred heart rhythm meditation in its fullness, let's just take a moment to connect to any divine being that you have a connection to. Or just could be any member of your families or friends who have inspired you throughout your life. Or it could be connecting to nature. You might go back to a memory of when you're hiking out in the wilderness or the nature and you stop with this huge vista and you look out and you notice how quiet you become inside. What we always do in this meditation is we connect what's within us, what's in front of us, to this profound presence behind us, these divine beings, or this force of nature, however you want to describe it. The inspiration for this school is Hazrat Inayat Khan, and his very, actually lovely and secular invocation. And join me if you wish, toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony, beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the one heart, the spirit of guidance. Let's just allow these divine qualities of love, harmony, and beauty to resonate within our hearts. The spirit of guidance resonating within our hearts. The universal heart aligned with our hearts. So now we begin connecting the rhythm of our heartbeat with the rhythm of our breath. For most of us, that's 8 heartbeats in, 8 heartbeats out. But you are the one that determines what is right for you. Could be more, could be less. We want to cultivate our inhale being equal to our exhale. But cultivate, not force. There's a saying in India. It says if you want to keep a dog in your backyard, you can chain it to a tree, or you can just feed it every day. You chain it to a tree, it'll get away and escape as soon as it can. Feed it every day, it loves being there. And that's what we're doing here with our breath. We're loving this even rhythmic breath. Full inhale, full exhale. We're loving it so much that it wants to become a habit. The spirit of breath is an intelligence unto itself. It has its own rhythm, just like creation has its own rhythm. By pulling these two rhythms together, pull together our own rhythm in alignment with the rhythm of life, the rhythm of creation, the rhythm of the earth. And it just goes without saying that if you have a name for your heartbeat, to use that. And the last 2 days, we worked on the directed breath into the heart. Yesterday, we shifted that into the swinging breath, going forward to the far reaches of creation in front of us, in through our heart, and back to the infinite, unmanifest realms behind us, and back and forth, feeling free to ask for guidance in that process. And we're working on health and healing, so I suggested you ask for guidance about any medical condition you might have, or any situation whatsoever. You can do that every time you do the swinging breath. Ask the question, cast it out to all of creation. Pull back in the wisdom of creation into your heart. connected to the wisdom of the infinite behind you. And just let the request go. This is one dimension, our forward and our backward dimension. Forward dimension is really valuable for getting things done in the world. Put our heart into our work, and the energy of our heart makes it all happen. The backward dimension is more receptive, bringing that wisdom of the infinite into our world. So today, still keeping this basic heart rhythm meditation, we're going to work on the horizontal breath to widen our hearts. Discover what widening our heart can do for our health. So just as we pulled in energy from the front and filled our heart up, now the invitation is to pull in energy from your left side. This is the receptive side, the receiving side. And breathe in from the left, keeping that same count of 8 or 6 or 10 heartbeats, whatever's right for you. Fill up your heart from the left, and exhale it out. Same number of heartbeats out to the right. Allowing that energy to go out as far as it comfortably can. And then come back to the left, as far out as you can towards the horizon. Inhale from the left. And exhale to the right. Back to the left. Deep, slow inhale, keeping that same basic heart rhythm meditation. Exhaling to the right. As we do this, I encourage you to actually, like when we go out to the left to the far end, so the far ends of the horizon, invite your heart to expand out there as a way of inviting this energy in from the left. Your heart expands out there and part of it pulls back in with you with that air. And as we exhale out to the right, allow your heart to expand with your breath out to the right. And come back out to the left. Allow the heart to expand far to the left. Then inhale and bring that energy in on the breath. Exhale, expanding your heart out to the right. This may be a little strange to some of you right now, but don't worry about that. We're working with new energies. Just keep going from the left to the right. We're working with new energies and we're working with the heart. These are meditations of the heart. You may be more used to meditating with your mind, with your awareness. Very valuable in itself. But right now, we want to allow the heart to expand to the left, come in, expand out to the right. And just check as a way of noticing. Do you go out further to the left or do you go out further to the right? It's quite normal, particularly in the beginning, for us to have a difference here. it can actually become quite balanced in a relatively short period of time. But we want to just honor where we are. If your sense is that it's easier for you to go way out to the left than it is for you to go out to the right, this is typical of someone for whom it's easier to receive, to take in, than it is to give. And if you can go out further to the right, it's indicative of someone who is more naturally giving than they are receiving. Of course, they're both beautiful. It's beautiful to receive and be able to hear and understand and feel. It's a great gift, and a great gift to give and share and teach and help like that. But ultimately, we want to be able to fully hear, fully receive, fully take in whoever it is we're working with, as well as fully give, fully share, fully expand to the right. And just notice if over time as you're practicing it, it becomes easier for you to move your energy way out further towards the horizon. You may start a few inches outside of your body and then go to a few feet. That's okay. That's really wonderful. In the long run, after you've built up your energetic body, you will discover that your heart goes from horizon to horizon, leaving us extraordinarily stable. It's like you have wings that stretch out an unimaginable distance. Now, from this place of this width of our heart, can you pull up within yourself anything about your body, anything about your personality that you don't like, that you wish was healed? If you have a big toe you don't like, or your posture you don't like, or, blood sugar problems with that, or with your liver, or kidney problems, fogginess of your mind. Doesn't matter what it is. Could you allow yourself to look at it through the eyes of your very broad heart and just, whatever it is, the energy around it, breathe it into your heart. To your heart, and then breathe out, expanding that energy out. Look at it again. Welcome it in your life. It's here for a reason. Even if you think you don't want it, you don't like it. It's here for a reason. Inhale it into your heart and just expand out with it. Would it be okay with you if you pull this thing you want to heal, whether it's physical or emotional or spiritual, if you welcome it into your heart, and then on the exhale, spread it out throughout creation, sharing it with all of life, and ask all of life to help in the healing of this situation. And again, whatever health situation you're working on, whatever personality situation you're working on, whatever deep wound you're working on. Welcome it up. Breathe it into your heart. Welcome it into your heart. Allow your heart to reassure it that it is welcome here. You may not want to welcome it, but I encourage you to welcome it anyway. When you push it away, you hold it where it is. You welcome it into your heart as a loving parent. You open it up to be healed. So pull it into your heart. Exhale and spread it out to all of creation once again. And is it okay with you if the deep wisdom of creation joins in the healing and transformation of this energy? And do you notice when you spread it out to all of creation, that somehow it feels lighter within yourself? So let's just come back, pull the energy into our hearts again, and come back once more to this left, right breathing, horizontal breathing. See how far out you can go now. Move your heart out there. It's okay to lead with your imagination. And the inhale, pulling in your energy in your heart from the left. Exhale, expanding out far to the right. And again, just sit quietly for a moment. Taking it in, how it feels to be broad-hearted, to have a deep, wide heart. Just noticing that, loving that. Is it okay with you if this energy pattern becomes habitual? That we walk through life with a broad heart. Just say yes. It's an obvious question. It's yes. It's okay to walk through life with a broad heart. And some of you still may have some wounds. So up comes the thought, yes, but I'm going to be hurt if I do this. And if something like that comes up, could be any kind of a thought that makes it so it doesn't feel safe to have a broad heart. Whatever is coming up, could you just welcome up that thought or feeling and love it? And just notice that the fact that a thought comes up doesn't make it true. It doesn't mean that just because a thought comes up, there's some gospel-like destiny to it. It may indeed have happened in the past when you're wide open, you're hurt. And which would you rather be? Occasionally hurt, but living with a shriveled up heart? You still get hurt, it still happens. Or would you rather be living with a broad and wide heart? So wide and so big that anything that comes in is dwarfed by the magnanimousness of your heart. And we are free to just absorb it and allow it to be transformed into an even deeper love for life. So let's move on. I mentioned earlier we're going to be working with the issue of homelessness. So just pull up a picture. I'm sure you've seen them on the news. The homeless cities that are developing largely in the West Coast, California, Oregon, Washington, the East Coast, New York and Massachusetts, and down in Texas. These are the states where these huge problems are rising up. And let's look at this homelessness from two perspectives. One is from our own perspective of looking at homelessness and what it's like and how it makes us feel, what it brings up within us. And then let's shift our perspective to that of the people living in this homeless situation. So right now there's 500,000 or 600,000 homeless people. That's as of last January, or at least 500,000 or 600,000 people, most closer to 6 actually, were homeless for at least one night in the month of January. It's a cold month to be homeless, isn't it? So let me ask you, in your country, I'll speak of America, but go for your country. How should we be handling the homeless crisis as a nation? It's not a question for your mind, it's a question for your heart. What does your heart see when it sees the homeless, when you drive by them? Yesterday we had neighborhoods we didn't want to drive through. We explored that. Let's just actually take a little visit. Imagine you're walking in through a neighborhood. I'll say San Francisco because I was born there. Walking through a neighborhood in San Francisco full of homeless people. You know, they've got their tents on the sidewalks and their sleeping bags on the sidewalks, and there's trash everywhere. There's needles. There's fecal matter. Some of us walking through will walk through with our open hearts filled with compassion. Some of us will have a different reaction, and that's fine. That's why we're doing this. It's more along the lines of, thank God I don't have to live here. I don't like being here. I don't feel safe being here, and these people remind me of how I could be living if my life turned out differently. So if you're having feelings like that, please just welcome them into your heart and love them. Just be with them. If you're having feelings of compassion and that's your dominant experience or something like that, could you allow that to go even deeper and even bigger? Could you allow that presence of that one compassionate being to fill you up even more? Back to the other side here. Walking through this homeless camp. Any sense of nervousness, Any sense of wishing I wasn't here? Why do I have to do this? Any fear that you could lose your job, lose your savings, end up on the streets. Just imagine that for a minute. Your life, which has been so well protected all this time, suddenly you end up living on the streets. Can you pull that energy in, whatever comes up, whatever dislike? Just breathe into it. Is it okay if this energy moves within you, outside of you? The energy comes up, we love it, we let it transform. And would it be okay with you if we move into a place when we see the homeless people, where we see them and all the same, what rises up within us is a sense of peace. And more peace. And even still more peace. And some of us, probably most of us, will sit here, look at this and say, we need to do something here. Could you honor that impulse within your heart? And it's not the case that every one of us can work on every crisis in the world, every crisis in our country. Some of us will be drawn to work on this, some on that. But notice that really the heart is drawn towards service. And is it okay with us if we pursue service in the most natural, spontaneous manner? Check to see if you have a sense of service, meaning duty and obligation. Could you let go of that should quality? I should do something. I should be doing something about this. Notice that it locks us in to an action. Could you let go of the should and allow your service to be an expression of love? That's why we do things in this world. To express love. And in the process, we expand the very dimensions of our heart. We act in a loving manner towards the homeless. Whatever it is we do, we bring food or organizing cleanups or whatever it is, or we simply hold them in our hearts. A powerful thing to do. But notice in that process that your heart is expanding. Could you allow yourself to be grateful for the homeless? These great spiritual beings, just like you and I, who are living in this way, in this condition, that we might be able to love them and expand our hearts. But let's shift our perspective here and explore how life looks from the eyes of the actual homeless themselves. So imagine that you're homeless, living in a homeless camp. And regardless of all the romanticizing of the hobos when we were young, just notice that many of the homeless people have mental illnesses. And we're living among people who are unpredictable, perhaps violent. Notice that it's not very sanitary. There aren't enough toilets around. It smells. And getting food is always a question, even though there are a lot of soup kitchens and things out there. There really are. Still, it's getting to the right one at the right time, at the right place. And notice how much shame you might be feeling. I just read a story, one of these, the Moth Presents stories. Moth, M-O-T-H. Fabulous books, fabulous, internet radio station that people just tell stories of their lives. I wouldn't say it's life-changing, but it's wildly life-enriching, the stories they tell. And this was a man telling a story of living as homeless with his mother as a young sixth grader. And it wasn't about sleeping outside at night. They'd found a nice tree they could sleep under, watch when the guards, the police come by, and then go in at the right time. And so they were sleeping just fine, and they could get food. But the thing for him was the shame of it. He didn't want his classmates to know that he was homeless. The shame of living as the very bottom rung of society. Not good enough. Not cared for. Not loved. Could you just pull in any feelings that come up with this and expand your heart, your very broad heart, and let them dissolve. And do it again. How would you feel if you're homeless? The shame, the fear, the uncertainty, the despair. Could you welcome up on their behalf those who are homeless now? Collectively, could we pull in that energy and let our hearts soften that energy and soften it some more? Let's end this meditation with a vision, an intention that everyone in our country has a shelter to live in, has food to eat, has clothing, and feels safe in their life. And let's just take that picture, however that looks, energize it with the power of our hearts, and just let it go. And let it go some more. Come back into our hearts. Feel our feet firmly on the ground. Could we just be grateful for the life that we have? Grateful for our prosperity, grateful for our health, grateful for the love in our lives, the community that we have. And when you're ready, just open your eyes. So at this point, I thank you all very much for joining me in that meditation. At this point, we go into the second half of this morning's class, and I understand that classes run long, that designed in that way for people who can do it, but if you can't do it, I totally understand. So if anyone was really stirred up with this meditation or stirred up with something in your life, would like to work on it, or if you have a gain to share about what's going on with you connected to this meditation or not, it's always uplifting for us to hear people's gains, what's going well in their lives. Just feel free to unmute yourself and just say hello. I'm trusting everybody can unmute themselves if they want to. Let me check on that. Yes. All right, should we just tell stories? Cindy, hi, how are you doing, Cindy? Okay, are you having trouble unmuting yourself? Here, let's see if I can do anything here. All
Okay,
right,
now
there you go. No, you didn't do it. You had it for a second. Let me see if I can do it. Let me come over here and all I can do is ask you to unmute. I don't have the option of unmuting
there
you.
we go.
Ah,
Is it
good.
working?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, I definitely was stirred up. It's like I didn't want to go there. And I thought, okay, stay with it and let it come up so I can release it. But I felt a lot of resistance there.
Ah, good. So this was resistance to going into the homeless camp?
Just the whole situation around it. I didn't even, when you said visualize, and I thought, no, I don't want to visualize. Why would I want to do that?
You're right. I totally understand that. So when you think about being homeless yourself, what thought or feeling comes up?
Well, I think what you mentioned when that person said shame, I could feel that energy come up, the shame.
Good. So could you just allow that shame to come up?
Yes,
No one else, whatever comes up for you, we just get a chance to do it over again, go deeper. So welcome up that shame. And do you notice it's just a feeling?
yes,
Yes. And we all have this tendency to turn our feelings into gospel.
mm,
Okay. And sometimes it's a very valid, very useful, very rich part of life. I'm not trying to take that away. But would it be okay with you if you allowed yourself to see that feelings are just a part of you
yes,
and that you and the wisdom of your heart can choose what is most useful for you?
yes,
Okay. And right now, the fact that shame is coming up tells me it's very useful for you to welcome it up.
yeah. and
Right?
and I was proud of myself that I didn't leave, that I stayed with it.
So that's a gain, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It
So
just,
everybody give yourself some love and approval
yes,
for sitting through an uncomfortable visualization. Okay.
yes,
You are very good. Very good for all. We might as well give ourselves love and approval whenever we can.
absolutely.
Can you give yourself some love and approval for having this shame energy?
Yes.
Yes. Could you give it some more love and approval?
Yes, and it's interesting. I was just asking internally, where's the shame from? And for me, it was the fact that I didn't learn to read until I was 21 years old. And oh my gosh, I can feel the energy. Like for years, it wasn't until I think I was 45 or 50 that I could come forward and let people know. And it was one of the toughest things I had ever done. When I was speaking, I came forward and said, that I didn't learn to read till I was 21. And it was the shame energy. Like, how could I not know how to read? But I was so athletic, like the football player, that they just would pass on. And I was a female athlete. So, because I'm thinking, okay, where's the shame coming from? And that was the instant feeling that I got for me.
And just to fill in everyone here, Cindy is a best-selling author now.
But they need to know from what? It's a book with nothing in it. Everything men know about women, it's all blank.
So. She put out a book called Everything Men Know About Women. It's a blank book, yeah. But it turned out to be a bestseller.
Yeah, and it's still selling. It's been 32 years and still selling.
Good. So back to the shame here of not being able to read until you're 21. Okay, we'll just go right there.
Okay.
Everyone else, whatever it is in your life that you're ashamed of, what don't you want people to know about you? Okay. And could you just welcome up all the energy about that? Do you feel this in your body, or do you feel it in the general field around you?
Oh, it was all in my body. And the fact that I stayed with it and asked why it was coming up for me, I'm feeling so much lighter. And a lot of literally lighter. It was all inside me and around me. It was a heaviness that I had.
Good.
And even though I talk about it and people know about it now, I guess there was still that energy in me, because when you brought it up, I didn't want to go there.
Yes. So is it okay with you? Is it safe for you to explore shame some more?
Yes.
Yes. So welcome up all that shame. Imagine you go back there and, your life just falls apart. Okay. Family abandons you.
Oh, I don't. You're pushing it, Steve.
It's my job. It's my job.
Oh.
Okay.
Ouch. It feels yucky. I feel yucky.
Yes. And would you rather have that yuckiness transformed, or would you rather carry it around?
Transformed, yes.
So could you welcome up all that yuckiness?
Yes.
Yes. And isn't it remarkable that you can welcome it up and transform it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So could you do that some more? Your family's, disavowed you. They think you're crazy. You've gone mentally and there's nothing they can do. So they just go out like that. Mom's doing this, whatever, husband, wife's doing that. And there you are. Would it be okay with you, Cindy, even abandoned, living on nothing, no shoes? I get that one. Would it be okay with you if you looked at this whole experience as being an open door invitation for you to move into your heart?
Yes.
You ever seen extremely poor people with huge hearts?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Would it be okay with you if you became homeless and you became a huge-hearted woman?
Well, the first part, no. The second part, yes.
So that's fine. So when you say no to becoming homeless, that's keep it away, or does that draw it closer?
Yeah, I know. Okay, so I choose this. I choose to bring it up and let it out. Yes, say yes to it. Okay.
Say yes to it.
Yes.
Say yes to it again. That picture.
Yes.
Yes, and once again.
Yes.
And once again, say yes to it.
Yes.
And does the picture become less charged the more you say yes?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So everyone else, whatever it is you're avoiding in your life, just say yes to it. It's a pool of energy within you that you're avoiding.
Yes.
Saying, yes, come on up. It's
Hmm.
okay. My heart will transform this energy.
Yes. I like that. My heart does transform this energy.
Yes. So there you are again, enrich that picture, what you really would hate. What would you hate about being homeless the most?
Well, a lot of the charge is already gone.
Oh, good,
Yes, I feel it. I feel the huge shift. And the biggest thing that I felt was the shame.
good.
That
And
was the
so
biggest energy.
is it okay with you if it's easy to continue to release any other energy around this that shows up?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And is it okay with you if you move into a place of peace now this energy is shifted?
Yes. And I
Yes.
already feel a lot more peace.
Yes. Would it be okay with you to let go of what you're feeling so you can experience it even more?
Yes.
And could you let it go and experience it even deeper
Yes.
and deeper?
Yes.
Yes. Is it okay with you if this deep peace becomes your backdrop 24/7?
Yes. I like that.
I like that too. And if you find yourself out of this deep peace, would it be okay for you to look at this and say, oh boy, I get to release something else and move back into my deep peace?
Yes.
Yeah. And just like by now you're healing that energy so quickly, that transforming it so quickly,
Hmm.
could you allow it to be a pretty easy process to move back into peace?
Yes.
Yeah. Where else do we need to go here?
Well, I have to leave in just a few minutes. I'm on the way to the doctor. My right knee has arthritis and they want to do a knee surgery, but I'm getting a Synvic one shot to help with pain, a temporary Band-Aid. And so I've been sending lots of energy and love to my right knee. And the pain is so bad at times that I can't do the things. I haven't been able to do some of the things I love, like line dancing and pickleball and stuff like that. And so I have a appointment here that's why my alarm went off. I have a few more minutes and
So you want to work on that for a few minutes? You want to do
sure.
the
Yes.
another? Okay, good. So
Yes.
anyone else who has joint problems or anything else going on? So the first thing I'm going to invite you to do is breathe into your knee. So it could go one of two ways. Most commonly, people breathe into the heart and down to the knee and then back up. But you could also, in a case like this, you can also just breathe in and out of your knee.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the heart adds a lot of healing energy, but it's nice to have the focus on the knee. So
Yes.
either way you want to do it, just breathe in and out. And there's a breath we call the water breath, where you inhale through your nose and exhale out through slightly opened lips. And I'm going to suggest to you to do that when you're breathing in and out of your knee
Okay.
to add more lubrication in there.
Good.
And it softens and quiets down inflammation. Inflammation is fire.
Okay.
Okay. So inhale. I'll speak as though you're going through the heart because that's most common what most people do. And
Okay.
then down there, as you exhale down to your knee, slightly open lips. Come back up. Exhale again down to your knee, pouring that water down there. And with this as just a basic backdrop, I would do this like an hour a day, Cindy.
Okay.
All right, breathing in with the water breath. You could come in from your crown if you wanted to. That's more classic water breath, but this will really cool down your knee. 5 or 10 minutes, in my experience, just won't do it. Okay. So just as much as you can do it. And what will happen is, as a side effect, is you'll get a lot more flow in your life.
Oh, good. Yes.
Yeah, it's a really powerful process, just like that. And the other, but just on the emotional, energetic level, your knee is calling for attention,
It is. Yes.
right? And there's different ways of interpreting what a knee is, but a lot of it is about bending the knee and being willing to surrender to something.
Yes.
Okay, and everyone, there's a number of systems out there, like Louise Hay has one, and there's another couple other systems. But what every body ailment has to do with whatever one you resonate with, I'm happy for you to use that. But I invite you to start looking at what it is that you are not willing to surrender to. Okay,
I know the answer.
good.
It's the
So,
extreme heat.
okay, good. Would it be okay with you to surrender to that extreme peace?
Oh, I said heat.
Oh,
Heat.
heat, that
Heat.
extreme heat.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I don't do well in heat, so we're out looking for a new home base, and so I resist like any place that's too hot, and too hot to me is like anything over 72 degrees.
Gotcha. So good. That's your system. You know your limits.
Mhm.
Would it be okay with you, instead of resisting and hating the heat, if you surrendered to it?
Yes.
There's a famous saying by Byron Katie: when we argue with reality, we lose,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So would it be okay with you if you let go of arguing with heat?
Yes.
Yes. And so you fighting heat. So now you've got heat in your knee.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the job.
And we're heading to Alaska where it's cooler. For the
Nice.
summer. We're going to spend the summer in Alaska. Okay.
Okay. That's a good solution right there. And
Okay.
still, that heat is built up in your body.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Literally.
Literally. I get it.
Yeah.
That's why you kind of keep breathing into it. And could you let go of resisting the heat in your body?
Yes.
Yes. So I have the picture of Daniel in the lion's den here. Or excuse me, not in the fiery furnace, not in the lion's den, where he's thrown into the furnace, or here his friends are, only it's not hot.
It
Okay?
wasn't?
No, not for them. It was for everybody else. That's why they didn't burn up.
Wow.
Okay? And it's sort of like people have that experience when they do fire walking. Those
Mm.
coals are really hot, but they're not resisting the heat.
Mm.
It'd be okay with you if you align yourself with the fire element.
How do I do that?
Could you let go of trying to figure that out?
Yes.
Yes. And just ask your heart to guide you in that.
Okay.
Okay? And allow the wisdom of your heart to align, because it's the heart that's going to align, not your mind.
Okay.
And just allow that alignment. Surrender is a hard word, alignment is an easy word.
Okay.
Okay, but they mean exactly the same thing. Would it be okay with you if you became good friends with heat,
Wow.
with fire?
Wow. Mm. Yes.
Yes, I mean, it's a part of life, right?
Whew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So could you allow that some more? Just set
Yes.
the intention that it's okay to become friends with fire.
Yes. It's okay to become friends with fire.
Yes. And you just
Mm.
keep working with this, loving fire in your body and without,
Mm.
infusing it with water to balance it. And ultimately, would it be okay with you if you were a perfect balance of all five elements?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Now, the ether element shows up as peace, by the way.
Okay.
and spaciousness.
Mm.
It's really about space, akasha, space, but it
Mm.
shows up as peace.
Okay.
And what Hazrat Nat Khan said was the very essence of being spiritual is to etherealize everything, every part of your body, every cell in your body.
Mm.
So would it be okay with you if every cell in your body radiated this peace,
Yes.
spaciousness?
Yes.
Yes,
Mm.
perfect. I'm going to say there's enough for you to work on, more than
Thank you,
enough.
Steve. Thank you so much. And that was a big gain that I stayed with it.
Yes. Congratulations. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Cindy.
Okay.
You took us
Bye.
to some very great places. Have a
Okay.
good have a good appointment.
Thank you.
Okay, I saw from Tara that she couldn't unmute herself either.
Yeah, great. I'm now unmuted.
I'm so sorry about that. I really am.
Problem at all, I see. I'm not so tech savvy either, so it's perfectly okay. I love your course. I just love it. I'm so happy to be in your class.
Oh, thank you. So happy to have you here.
And another day, it's a bit late now. Another day, I can do a little bit of releasing with you.
Of course. Of course.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Well, it's just a gain that you could finally speak and be heard here, huh?
And then I tried mailing you. Is your email still the same Yahoo email, Stephen, or has it
Yes,
changed?
still the same.
Oh, I wrote to you and I didn't hear back from you, so I wasn't sure if it was the same email.
Oh no, I apologize if I missed that.
No problem, no problem.
But yeah, and people can also go to Healing the Heart of America, which is my website, and then there's a way they can leave messages there for me.
Okay, great. And
Yeah.
where do I access recordings of the present course? I tried, but I couldn't.
Yeah, my tech guy is out camping for a couple of days.
Okay.
So they'll be up soon.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. And then actually today, I can get him up to the YouTube account. He's the one who has to get him up to my website. So maybe I can figure out how to, I'll
Oh, no,
post it.
no rush. No rush. Let him come back and then,
Okay.
I was just asking. No rush.
No, they're nice to have up there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Ah. All right, you guys, should we call it a day and just say it's good? Everything's good?
Yes.
All right. Much
Thank you
love to you
so
all.
much. Thank you, and thank everybody else too.
Okay, Kathy, you want to work on that? Oh, good. We're fine. Okay. Another time. All right. Much love to you guys. Let's end this meeting.